Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Darker Than Blue. I am Jackie Lukeman, and yes, this is Darker Than Blue, the show here on WPFW where we do talk about politics for the people who you just heard Brother Curtis Mayfield say are darker than blue. That is me and you, folks, and I hope we're all doing well here in wherever we're calling this place these days, because I don't know what to call it other than day 7,482 of the end of this empire. But hey, it is Friday. It's a beautiful Friday here in the Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area. And wherever you are listening or watching online on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or all the socials, thank you so much for joining us here on Darker Than Blue. And I'm very excited about this particular episode because, as you can see, we have a guest, and I know you all who are listening know you can't see. So this is why you should be watching Darker Than Blue. Also on lots of different YouTube platforms. You can go to Black Liberation Media, and soon we're going to try to figure out how to get this streamed on the WPFW YouTube page. But until then, Facebook, Jackie Lukeman or Black Liberation Media, YouTube, Black Liberation Media, Instagram, Lukeman Nation, the number one, LUQMANNATION. I am joined tonight by a good comrade to have an important conversation, particularly on this day. Y'all, I promise that I did not plan this show to happen on Juneteenth. I didn't even realize that this show was scheduled for Juneteenth because honestly, I'm going to just be real honest right now. That's how little attention I pay to the federal recognition of Juneteenth, because I feel like it was kind of a ripoff, you know, compared to what we asked for, because we asked for the protection of voting rights. We asked for the protection of voting rights, and that's not what we got. We got the federal recognition of Juneteenth, and that's cool. You know, we get to celebrate and all that. Okay, fine, but what exactly are we celebrating? This is what I've been asking myself, and I ask myself this question because this is what Malcolm, I think, has been telling us with everything he said about our connection to our people around the world and their struggles. They are the same struggles as ours. I realized that this show falling on this day, though it may have been entirely unintentional and accidental, it wasn't a coincidence. I do think that there's some serious spiritual revolutionary work at work here in the background, and of course I'm just hyping my own little accidental stuff up. But I think it is important. I think it absolutely is important, friends, that I am joined today by Kito Burroughs, an organizer with Friends of the Congo. And this is a really important conversation in general, but particularly right now in this political moment, but especially on today, because we're celebrating Juneteenth here in the United States. And like Malcolm tried to tell us, we can't understand what is going on in Mississippi, in Alabama, in the United States if we don't understand what's going on in the Congo. So, Kito, thank you for joining us today to help us understand what is still going on in the Congo that we need to understand to really give the proper context to whatever it is we're celebrating today.
For sure. No, thank you, Comrade Jackie. It's a pleasure to be on your show, and thank you for inviting Friends of the Congo on. Like you said, it is very important. What takes place in the Congo has direct effect on us here in the States, and whether we want to believe it or not, I'll do my best to connect the dots today.
Fantastic. And because there's so much going on, and every time there is a country and the masses are struggling against, an authoritarian and brutal imperialist or neocolonial system, I always want to talk about it, but I never just want to talk about the horrible things that are being done to the people, because we do, I think we do have to remember that we shouldn't be presenting these struggles as like trauma porn, but we should be lifting up the resilience of the people in the midst of all of these struggles. And that's what I really want to kind of focus on today, even as we talk about these horrible things that are continuing to happen. And they're all kind of converging on the Congo at one time, Kito. And I think the first thing, of course, is the emergence or the reemergence of the Ebola virus in Congo. Since the last major outbreak decades ago, has Ebola been dormant, or is this a case of people outside of the country didn't know anything about what was going on since the last outbreak? Is this a is our lack of knowledge about the situation in the Congo in regard to Ebola all this time a result of, the colonial control of information, or is this really a reemergence that can be contributed to other factors?
So it's a combination of all of those things. But I'm going to start off, like you said, first off, happy Juneteenth. Also, happy International Day of the African Child, which was June 16th, which
Hmm.
is the 50th anniversary of the Soweto uprising in Azania, South Africa. So, when we speak on the Congo, we first have to look at what is the Congo's position in the world, in this imperialist system that we live in, right? The continent of Africa has been under attack, we can at least say, for the last 2,000 years. We can say that the Portuguese have come into the greater Congo area, which is now Angola, Congo area, in the 1400s, and taking most of our people, our ancestors. 50% of the DNA here in the Americas comes from the Congo, comes from the Congo region. So we're already looking at a place that's been stolen, human trafficked in a severe way in what we call the transatlantic slave trade, right? And we have 400 years of that, 400 years of fighting off invaders, 400 years of having riches stolen from the land. Then we move into colonialism, right? 1884, we have the Berlin Conference, where King Leopold obtains the Congo as his own personal backyard, where he can take the rubber to help with the Industrial Revolution, right? So to build all the cars, the planes, everything you make with rubber is coming from there. You also have the copper, which is very important for weapons, for building, for pipes, everything that builds this nation, builds the European nation during this time period. All those resources are coming from the Congo, right? So the Congo's full of riches. The Congo is, before the Congo's full of riches, the Congo has the people. The people are the greatest resource in the Congo, but they also go after the riches in the land. And with the riches in the land being taken, we have the artisanal mining. We have mining. Now, Africans have been mining before Europeans came to the continent, right? But there's a certain way to mine, which are a lot of our organizers on the ground, because we work with those frontline organizers on the ground that deal in ancestral knowledge. So there's a different way to mine, which is conducive to the planet and the people and those animals and plants that inhabit those areas. So, like I said, we go to colonialism, and after colonialism, of course, neo-colonialism, where Patrice Emery Lumumba was elected, president, or excuse me, prime minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo in 1960, only to be replaced and assassinated by the United States of America, given the okay from President Dwight Eisenhower, given the okay by Senator Kennedy, right? So all this happening because of what they want today. And I can take on. So in place, they put another dictator, which is Mobutu. Now, what they don't tell you is Mobutu comes to power in 1964, but he's been on the CIA payroll since 1958. So it was all planned. It was all planned. It was all planned in order to take control of the Congo, take control of what comes out of the Congo. So once the mining began to be a product, more of a product for the imperialist nations, the United States, the Canada, the European nations, more deforestation occurred. When more deforestation occurred, that makes it for those animals that are living in those areas to move to more populated areas, right? So they're around more people, and we can look now. So back in, I think 2014, there was an outbreak. There was a Ebola outbreak in Guinea, West Africa, which took the lives of 20,000 or greater people, affected 3 continents. And that happened after there was a loss of 85% of forest, cover forest in that area. And now we look 2024, same thing happened in Democratic Republic of Congo. Over 1.5 million acres of the Congo Basin rainforest was destroyed in 2024, right? To continue to build this, to build our cell phones, our computers, the batteries, the gold that's still there. They're doing all this, and it's still continuing to hurt the people and the land, and everybody being affected in that sense. But so the Ebola virus, from my understanding, is that it's already been there. There's been like units, groups of people that lived in those those forest areas, were away from the populations, and they come to find out that they're immune to the virus because they've lived there. They lived amongst those animals that carry the virus, and they've been able to build immunity to it. But once it became to where those animals had to seek out homes closer to the population, especially densely populated areas such as Ituri, which is where this year's outbreak began, which is on the northeastern part of the Congo, close to Uganda. But it's very heavily populated. It's densely populated, and that's where a lot of trade and traffic comes in that area. So now that we have that, now we have a situation where the virus is just expanding at a rate that is not able to be kept up with. And when we look at the Congolese government, or the lack of Congolese leadership, and we look at the timeline that I just mentioned a little earlier, we see that they really never got a chance to build an infrastructure for the Congo, for the Democratic Republic of Congo. There's no infrastructure. The infrastructure is just there to basically take the things out of the country and take it to the European countries, Americas, Canada, in order to make a profit. So with there not being the ability to build an army, or maintain an army, maintain health standards throughout the country, there's no ability to build the infrastructure needed for people to prosper. Then the Democratic Republic of Congo becomes reliant on outside forces for help and for aid, and all the while nobody has our people's best interests at heart. So it's a So to answer your question, I know this is a lot, and I went around your question kind of.
Nope, those are the best kinds of answers. Nope, go ahead.
For sure. To answer your question, it's not that it's gone dormant. It's something that is in existence, that continues to be in existence, but it gets exasperated by the situation that happens around it. And that's why now, when it was in those tight areas, you might get 100 people that get affected. But now we're talking about hundreds, we're talking about thousands, we're talking about tens of thousands of people that are getting affected by this virus. And now at this time, we don't even have the ability to get in front of it.
And I'm glad you gave that in-depth framing of the environmental, ecological situation in the Congo that gives rise to the spread of viruses, because never in the history of the reporting on viral outbreaks or anything on the continent anywhere has that connection ever been made when it comes to sickness, disease, that kind of thing. There is never a connection made between the destruction of the natural environment, the displacement of indigenous peoples in those natural environments, and some of those indigenous peoples are remote from the more developed areas, and what happens when capitalism and imperialism come in and do the displacement through capitalist and imperialist pursuit of profit. So how does that connect then, Kito, with how the imperialists do it? The how are they pursuing what is the cutting down of the forest for? How are they keeping the people from resisting and rising up against this clear exploitation? The people know they have no way to protect themselves from these kinds of things. They don't have the infrastructure they need. The people are not unaware of this. So how are the imperialists and the capitalists able to keep the Democratic Republic of Congo so destabilized that people are not even able to rise up to demand health infrastructure to protect themselves from the spread of a virus that outside forces are actually causing?
So, I mean, it's similar to here, like you said, with the Honorable Malcolm X said, if you ain't worried about what's going on in Congo, then you ain't gonna be able to help Mississippi, right? You got to understand what's going on there. But even here, our people are not aware of what enslaved system that they're in, right? We have people that, when we speak on Juneteenth, it is our African holiday, but there's a lot of different whys as to why we're celebrating. We have a class of people, we have people that feel as though it is, like you said, a being thankful that we're free. We all know that nobody can give us our freedom. We are free. We are free. We are already free. Nobody gave us our freedom. We are in chains, but we have to figure out, for ourselves how to get past that. And there's so many different. So same thing in the Congo. We have our class of people that are conscious as to what is taking place. We have our class of people that are just flowing with the motions. Got to get a job, got to support my family, got to take care of what's in front of me. One of the biggest differences is that conflict over there helps the imperial nations be able to extract these resources at an easier price, at a lower price, and it also causes for destabilization, because we know the one thing that can beat capitalism, is unity. Unity can beat capitalism. And now, if you have continued destabilization, you have different ideologies that are causing for the separation of our people, then that's one of the main challenges. You have the outside forces that, like I said, the people cannot go to the Congolese government for help with health, right? They can't go to the government for help with health. So how can you take care of your people? That's like you take care of your family, but not being able to help them with how they are connected to their bodies, right? Like if you're in leadership position, you got to make sure they're eating right. They have the nutrients that they need, and if they do end up catching a cold, getting sick, any of those things, then there's a way to help them get better. But the Congolese government, the Congolese so-called leadership relies upon outside forces. When those outside forces come in, then now it looks like it's more or less as a business thing, right? The people don't see it as coming in for help. They don't see the WHO, the World Health Organization. They don't see them coming for help because you know what? They're giving funds to outside NGOs, government organizations, to come in and help. They're not giving the funds to those on the ground, those that live there, right? So when people see these government officials from foreign countries, come in, they feel as though this is a business situation and they don't trust it. And then when they don't trust it, they don't seek help. They don't even trust the government to people to get better, and the virus continues to spread even more.
So, what is the other aspect of this current Ebola crisis in regard to the role of the United States and its imperialist pursuits in the region? Because the way these things are reported, Kito, people would think that that nothing else is going on, like at the same time. People are not understanding that as this virus has spread again, the war is still going on, even though there was an alleged ceasefire. And I hope people understand that we should never trust the word ceasefire again. When when we're talking about negotiations in an imperialist, with any imperialist power, but there was an alleged ceasefire a few months ago, I think. That is now that there is still a war going on. So what does this current regime, this Trump regime, have to do? What contribution did this regime have to this current crisis? Because it was a whopper. But I'd love to hear you describe it.
So where do we begin, right? We have this, the Congo is known for, but right now, everyone wants the 3TG. 3Ts are tungsten, tin, tantalum, and of course the G being gold. Tungsten, tin, and tantalum are what continue to fuel the green energy situation, right? So now we have Trump, who with Tshisekedi signs a Peace for Minerals deal last year, right? Peace for Minerals means that we will protect you guys from foreign invasion, we'll protect you militarily, but we need your resources at a lower price, or we need more of your resources, etc. So Tshisekedi, I don't like to say leadership, the non-leadership of the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Comprador works.
Comprador, thank you. That's a lot better, thank you. Yes, the Comprador government of the Democratic Republic of Congo, he signs the deal. Now, since then, there has been no ceasefire. Like you said, it's continued fighting in the region with the M23 that's backed by Rwanda. You got the Congolese rapid forces who are out over there as well. And you have a lot. It's so just think about it, right? You have people that they're fighting for their government, they're fighting for their country, but their country doesn't have their back. And they're fighting somebody all the time. And it's like they're being recruited by the enemy, because why am I going to fight for my country? So it's a lot of that going on. That's just one aspect of it. I mean, it's so many different aspects to the fighting that's going on in the area. And then now, not to mention everybody else that gets affected by it, right? So they see, these companies, these large, these global companies, they see the land that they want to take. They remove the people militarily. The people get displaced. So right now you're looking at about 200. I'll get the right number, but you're looking at 380,000 people that are currently displaced. My fault. I'm looking at a couple different numbers in my notes. I want to make sure I give you the right one.
Oh no, that's completely understandable, because the ongoing impact to the people of the Democratic Republic of Congo, and just the years of displacement. Um, it is hard to keep up with how many people are constantly being forcibly shifted from place to place. So completely understandable.
For sure. Thank you. So yes, but we're talking about a large number of displaced individuals, families who are put into what they call displacement camps, which are pretty much something that would look like, I don't know, something out of a dystopian movie of the future, where aliens came down and destroy your land, but there's only a neighborhood that's close enough to house 100,000 families, and you got about 3 acres to do it, something like that. So it's like, so you have that, and in those, you have, of course, you have human nature. You have people that you can't trust. You have thieves. You have those that are raping people. You have those that are trying to get, by on things that they can, take advantage of situations that are in front of them. So it's all of those things that are taking place at these displacement camps, and then now you throw an Ebola virus in there. Now you have the lack of running water. You have sanitation problems. You have close knit. I think there was one displacement camp. It had about 4 wash stations for washing your clothes and washing yourself. 4 wash stations for, I would say, about 100,000 people.
Oh my God!
It's almost unbelievable how these situations are put in place. All because they want to continue the extraction of the minerals from those places.
So Kito, I got to go back to Führer Trump's alleged minerals for protection, minerals for peace deal.
Right.
What? Okay, Chiquetti signed the deal, went along with it. Where's the protection for the people? Where's the and these are just in case people are watching or listening and thinking that I'm really asking them. I know where they are. I'm just asking for everybody else. The deal was supposed to be minerals for peace. Now the U.S. Tshisekedi has given the U.S. access to the minerals.
Mm-hmm.
But where's the provision for the people? Where's the protection for the people? Why do these displacement camps not have the infrastructure? Why is the president of Congo, of the Democratic Republic of Congo, not leveraging that deal that he signed and saying to Führer Trump, listen here, well, I've given you access to all these minerals. Now you see how my people are.
Right.
Where's the why is that not happening? Kito?
Well, what we said before, it's the comprador leadership, and even more important to recognize is that a few months ago, when Trump sent the deportees to the Democratic Republic of Congo, Tshisekedi told the public that our friend needed help. So we opened up our borders to help him in order to ask for a favor in the future. So
What?
now,
Wait. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait a minute.
exactly, they doubled down on it. The United States doubled down on the power that they have over this guy, have over this nation. They sent, I think it was 60 portees to live in Kinshasa, and he took them. And his explanation to the people was that we're doing our friend a favor in case we need a favor from our friend in the future. So now fast forward to the Ebola virus outbreak in June, but 2 months later, and nobody has heard a word from President Tshisekedi on the Ebola virus. President Tshisekedi has been more interested in the World Games, soccer matches, and being in Europe during these time periods. And the United States, I think he was just in Houston for a game. So.
Wait a minute.
Mhm.
You mean while Congolese people are dying in a war, are still being displaced, are living in literal hell on earth in those displacement camps, refugee camps, whatever you want to call them, um, mass rapes as a weapon of war,
Right.
starvation, and now disease. The president of the country that is being impacted by all of these things is not
Mhm.
even in the country to
Correct.
even give uh emotional support to his, but he is in the United States
Yep. He is
enjoying the
in.
World Cup. Whew,
Yep.
I got to save that question for the other side of this break. It is just a little bit past 30 minutes past the hour, and you know what that means, dear friends. It is time for a WPFW station break. So, engineer extraordinaire, what do you have on tap for the people today?
Beloved gay activist Wanda Alston was a fierce advocate of housing programs for homeless and at-risk LGBTQ youth. On Tuesday, June 30th, WPFW presents The House That Wanda Built 2026, our annual Pride special programming. From 12 noon until midnight, we'll broadcast voices, share stories, and present music honoring the life and legacy of Wanda Alston. That's The House That Wanda Built 2026, here on WPFW, building a better world, one broadcast at a time.
All right, thank you so much. That was fantastic. I hope that you get more information about that event. I am joined still by Kito Burroughs of Friends of the Congo, and I'm still kind of tongue tied from from that revelation on the other side. I can't believe that man is in the United States, the president of the Congo, instead of being there with his people in the
Right.
midst of all of these crises, he is flitting around this country watching some World Cup. Okay, so let me just go ahead and ask the World Cup question, because I hate that this is like a hard departure from this very, very serious conversation, but I actually think it's kind of appropriate because I mean, Chisekedi is in the U.S. Chasing after the World Cup, events, and because Congo is playing in the World Cup, Congo, the Congolese team, is competing in the World Cup, and for the first time in the history of the Congolese team and the World Cup, they scored a goal that actually tied and ended the match. I know those of you who are listening and watching who are football fans, I'm sorry. I'm colonized American with my sports still. I'm working on it. So, but that goal set them up to score the tying goal to tie the match with the former colonizers, Portugal, that was fantastic. But in the grand scheme of political things that we just talked about, Quito, how much excitement is there in Congo among the affected communities about the World Cup right now. Like, I'm sure there are people in Congo who are very excited about the World Cup, but honestly, in the context of this, what does it even mean?
So Jackie, I want to go back to what we said a little earlier about people not really seeing the big picture of what's taking place. People are very motivated by the fact that the Congolese are representing themselves in the world. We all know that the Congo produces the greatest resource in the people of the Congo. So ain't no way the Congo is an underdog in anything. You know, probably everybody in the NBA and NFL, probably 75%
Pretty much.
of lineage comes connected to the Congo. So we already know that, they're not underdogs. The Congolese are strong, powerful people. And we look at, so Brother Petna, one of our members of the Basanja Coalition, he's a film artist. They have a film where they're following the diggers, the artisanal miners and the miners, right? And we're talking about, it's gotta be like hundreds, if not a couple thousands of people that line up every day, like not a formation like a military formation, but just like a formation ready to go to those mines and get to work. And them men are motivated. Like they take pride in the fact that they are the ones that go down there and do the digging. That's how they make a living. That is the life. Just like here in the United States, even though we're building this infrastructure, we take a lot of pride in our work. Everybody takes pride in their work. You got your construction,
Okay.
your people that talk about their job and how good their job is and how good they like what they do. It's the same thing. Even though we're building against ourselves, people are still motivated in what they do. And we look at those things that are taking place as hell. But for most of them, that's all they know. They've lived their whole life worried about the Rwanda and the M23 coming into their neighborhood and disrupt. Anybody 30 years or younger, or 30, close to 35 years and younger, that's all they know. That's how it's been.
Right.
So that is regular life for them, unfortunately. We look at the displacement camps. Sometimes those displacement camps are just kind of like here. I would relate it to when say you lose your job, you got to get on unemployment. You go to the unemployment office. You say, I lost my job. I got to get back on unemployment. I do that. Same thing with the displacement camps. Our house has been, we've lost our home again. We're here to see if we can apply for a home again in a displacement camp. So when you look at it like that, you can see that, things like the World Cup are still a big deal for the people because it gives them motivation. They see their country, they see what they work for, the things that they work for, they can have a voice, they can be seen, and that's one of the biggest things we got to do. We got to make sure we make our people visible, because it's not like the colonizers have done and said that this is just a place where we're going to take our minerals. That's not what the continent is. That's not what the Congo is. It's a place. It's a home to people, to us, to our ancestors, brothers and sisters, our ancestors, cousins, our ancestors, brothers, things. So we have to make sure that when we report on the Congo, that the Congo is full of, some strong, powerful, beautiful beings that are just in a position where they have been affected negatively by the imperialist ability to extract the resources from that land. And so I'm with BAP in the boycotting of watching the World Cup, because I see the BS going on here in the States. But I also understand, sometimes sports unite us, sports give us motivation. But those of us that are in a position to understand the big picture, like the comprador leaders, we're supposed to see it as it is. It's just an entertainment thing, but there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do. And then you see Tisha Katie's taking the playbook right from Mobutu. The last time that Zaire was in the games, he brought everybody cars. He brought everybody. Same thing Tisha Katie did last year. So Tisha Katie did the same thing. But this time, the Democratic Republic of Congo had a little more positive outcome so far than Zaire did. But yeah, so it's like I said, it's a place for motivation for the people, and we don't want to get in the way of that. But we do want to make sure everybody knows that the U.S. is not the place to be holding events, and the leadership should be taking care of the people at this time, which is a virus that is taking this toll on the eastern part of the Congo.
Exactly. And that's why I started this conversation saying what I did. I don't want to just focus on the horrible things that are being done to the people. I want to focus on the people, because this neo-colonial phase of the colonial project of Africa, because that's what this is. This is the extension of the scramble for Africa. This is the modern day iteration of that imperialist scramble for Africa and Asia and everywhere else they carved up. This is the same thing, just in a new era with corporations and mercenaries instead of, settler colonies, because Israel is the only one that's still doing that kind of thing. But and that might be short-lived. I think we might see that in our lifetime. But
it's all going to be short-lived.
But I wanted to talk about it. I'm glad that you raised the people and their resilience, because how are the people handling this outbreak with no help from their government, with obviously no help from the neo-colonial governments? How are the people by themselves, basically, with their own ingenuity and strength, handling not just this Ebola crisis, but everything? How in the world, Kito, are the people of the Congo still as upright and inspirational and full of love and life as they are? And how do we reconnect with our people so that we stop forgetting that we are never going to be free if our family in the Congo is still not free?
For sure. I'm glad you said that, because one of the biggest reasons that I have gotten connected with Friends of the Congo is because the Friends of the Congo works with those organizers on the ground in the Congo. We work with the Basanja Coalition, which is made up of different groups spaced throughout the Congo that are on the ground working for a free Congo, whether it is in agriculture, whether it is in artisanal mining, health, aid, all these different aspects. Our people are building from the bottom up. They're building from the community level up, and the best thing we can do is to support them. Even in this time while the Ebola virus has taken a toll on the nation. Our Basanja Coalition is working to make sure that they are the liaison between World Health Organization and the people, because the people need somebody to trust. Basanja Coalition is on the ground. They're ready. They're trustworthy, and they're there to help the people. So it's like I said, it's one of the most powerful things to be able to meet and work with these brothers and sisters that are taking care of the community as in such difficult times, for lack of a better word. Making it easier, it'd be a difficult time, but like even for now. So with the Ebola virus spreading, the people, like I said, the people do not trust any outsiders at this time. They don't trust it. So Basanja Coalition, those that are working in the communities, are able to bring aid, bring awareness and education, so that everybody understand why they need to either take a certain medicine or stay away from certain people, or supply places for people to go to get away from the public. Yes.
And there has been some good news, or in the past few weeks, in regard to the spread of the virus and the way the people have been able to take care of themselves and each other without USAID, because it's circulating around the U.S. that Trump got rid of USAID or defunded it, and now that's why Ebola has spread again. And no. No, that's not.
It's more than that. It's definitely more than.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the power of U.S. corporate media, and how Malcolm said how they trick us with their lack of logic. This is how they do it. They report on these things in a certain way to make them seem disconnected from imperialism, disconnected from U.S. involvement, and disconnected from us. That is the main thing. They don't want us Africans in this place to understand that the same things that are being done to us are being done to our brothers and sisters in the Congo. So how do people get in touch with the coalition that you all work with, and how do they get in touch with Friends of the Congo to support and spread the word?
So you can link up to all of our social media networks. We're on Facebook, Instagram. On Facebook, it's Friends of the Congo. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. It's at Congo Friends. Also on Substack. Substack is very important because Substack is our journalists, a brigade of journalists that are part of the Sanja Coalition that are in the Congo, that live there, and they're giving information from the ground. So if you can go to Substack at Congo Friends, you'll be able to get up-to-date messages from what's taking place in the Congo. And it's the only information coming out of the Congo from the Congolese in English. So that helps here in the United States that don't speak any other language. So yes, if you want to get that information right there. Also wonder, did I answer the question?
Yeah, and actually, I realized that I cut off a question that I was going to ask you. So, because I started to say that there is some good news out of the Congo in regard to how the people, without the assistance or help or anything from the United States, without the support of their own government, the people are saving their own lives. So, what has been the good news that the people have done themselves that nobody else can take credit for in regard to this Ebola outbreak, that we really need to know right now?
Well, it's still happening. I mean, I like to give good news on the Ebola, but it's kind of early. The Ebola virus that's just taken over. I mean, we have, like I said, we have the Basanja Coalition that is on the ground. They are working to make these things, to fix the logistics from the help to the people. I mean, but the Basanja Coalition, different entities inside of it have been doing great work for years.
Yeah.
Taking victims and giving them a life again. Victims of rape, victims of hardship. We have the hospitals that are safe havens for women, that they know they're going to get the proper care. They know they're going to be recuperated from different situations. We have the youth organizations that are part of the Sanja Coalition. Like you said, the journalists are youth. They're in their 20s, maybe even younger. We have youth brigades that are all throughout the Congo, that are working to build up the communities. It's a big push for community sovereignty, freedom, and that we see that in the youth. We see that in all over the Congo in the youth with our friends on the ground. And it's important to make sure that we understand that I said, unity is the thing that's going to beat this colonial system, this neo-colonial system that's still in place. Having the right now, the last Ebola outbreak, we had the Cuban doctors that were able to help
Mm-hmm.
help the people and
Yes.
to contain the virus. But this go around, we don't have that because of what Trump and the United States, the sanctions on Cuba that have been placed. So they don't have the ability to do that as of yet. So it shows that the unity that we have is really what they are obsessed with. It's really what this thing is obsessed with. So a couple of things. In 2025, fiscal year 2025, the continent of Africa as a whole exported $750 million worth of dirt. $750 million worth of dirt. Whatever comes out of the ground, gold, some other things, copper.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
That's what they got paid. They had to pay $850 million for imports in 2025. Now, the $750 million worth of items that came out of the dirt from the continent, at the end of the supply chain, amounted to $10.2 trillion. So the continent of Africa doesn't have any manufacturing plants. The continent of Africa doesn't have any ship lines or air freight lines. The continent of Africa doesn't have that. So whenever we're building businesses here in the United States, talking about getting the bag, being an entrepreneur, all those things, but you're still putting into that system. Could you imagine if we had a United Africa where things were manufactured there, where everything had to be bought at the correct price, at the price that the Africans made? What kind of strength that would give the Africans here in America, right? Just like Chinatown, you can't mess with a Chinatown because you're gonna have to mess with China, right? You can't mess with the Jewish community because you're gonna have to go deal with Israel. You can't mess with the Japanese community here in the United States because you're gonna have to deal with Japan. When they mess with the African community, who they got to deal with?
The individual colonized Africans right here.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then see, this is why these conversations are so important. This is why international solidarity is the only thing that is going to free all of us from this one colonial, global, hegemonic, imperialist enemy we all have. I wish we had more time, but we do not. The people are fighting a battle that they are holding up with everything they have left, with no support from their own government, continued war stoked by their own government and the imperialist neo-colonial powers. The people of the Congo continue to persist, even as they're able to cure one or two people and even a few babies of Congo, but they are still trying so desperately to contain the spread of this virus in the midst of everything else, in the midst of an imperialist, fascist, neo-colonial collaboration to continually exploit and just completely rape the Congo for everything that they can profit off of and leaving the people with nothing. We don't intend to let that happen. This is why we celebrate the continued struggle of people's upright fight against neocolonialism everywhere. But we absolutely advocate for a free and united Africa under scientific socialism. That's what we believe in here in Darker Than Blue. And that's why we do what we do, So thank you so much, Kito Burroughs, for coming and talking to us on this Juneteenth about how the Congo is not free yet. So what in the world are we celebrating here? Thanks so much, comrade.
Thank you.
And
And
thank you all. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just sent the link in the chat for the to help with the current Ebola virus donations. You can also go to freecongo.org, and of course you can reach out to us at info@friendsofthecongo.org. Mine is Kito at friendsofthecongo.org, and yes, like I said, the at Congo Friends on social media. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you, Sister Jackie. Always a pleasure.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate you and all of your information and your passion and everything you do. Thank you all for listening and watching. A luta continua, the struggle absolutely continues. But if we keep doing this, if we keep building unity, international solidarity, and brotherhood, Victoria Acerta. Victory is certain. Peace, everybody. Thank you so much, Kito, comrade. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, everybody watching, for letting you know, everybody. Kito, this is our comrade, Kito Burroughs. Kito is also a member of the Black Alliance for Peace. And when I'm doing Darker Than Blue, I try to be careful to separate that because I'm trying not to get WPFW in trouble, because WPFW has already been gone after by the conservatives, and so that's why we have to say things the way we have to say them. Like, I can't tell people to join. I can't tell people to go to Friends of the Congo and donate. I have to get you to tell people.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because everybody knows I am a member of the Black Alliance for Peace, and so are you. So then, somebody could come along and say, oh, she's advertising something that's benefiting herself or her organization. And, so I just wanted to let people know I'm not claiming our brother. I just got to make sure the station doesn't get sued.
Gotta play chess. That's right.
Well, thanks so much, y'all, for joining. No extended dark room tonight because I'm tired. So go have a drink, because that's what I'm going to do now, too. Peace, y'all.
Peace.